All right, welcome to my channel. And here we are going to be looking at 145 building drawing objective questions. So I'm going to provide answers to this 145 building drawing questions. And let's go without wasting time. Okay, so question 1 says that the word headroom as applicable to building is associated with a stair. So this headroom is a part of a stair or a staircase. So option A is the answer to question 1. Then question 2 says that the roof member that makes contact with the wall is a wall plate. That is option B is the answer to this question. So we have to use this diagram to answer question 3 to 6, as we are told here that the sketch in figure 9 shows the outline of a building. Use it to answer questions 3 to 6. Ignore the thickness of the wall. So let's start with question 3. So question 3 says that dimension label W is, so we have W here, and total length that we have here is 12,000, and we are told that from here to here is 7,000. So if we subtract 7,000 from 12,000, the answer is 5,000. So option A is the answer to question 3. Then question 4 says that the dimension label X is, so here we have X, okay? So from here to here, we have it to be 5,000, and from here to here, we have it to be 2,500. So X is 2,500. So option C is the answer to question 4. So the question 5 says that the dimension label Y is, so dimension label Y, so this is Y from here to here. So if we have that from here to here is 5,000, and from here to here for X is 2,500. So dimension label Y is 7,500. So option D is the answer to question 5. Then question 6, dimension label Z is, so this is Z from here to here. Okay, so looking at the total distance that we have from here to here, so we have this dimension. So as we have that Y is 7,500. So for distance from here to here, so we are going to have okay, so we are going to subtract what do we have? So we are going to subtract, okay, so from here to here is, we have this from here to here to be 3,500 plus 2,500. So that will give us 6,000. So if we subtract 6,000 from 7,500, which is total distance from here to here, that is the length of Y. So that will give us 1,500. So option D is the answer to question 6. Then we move to question 7, which says that the type of roof shown in figure 10 is a gable roof. So option A is the answer to question 7. So gable roof is the answer to question 7. This is a gable roof. So that is option A is the answer to question 7. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 8 and 9. So question 8, as we have here, that the type of door, the type of door is called, this type of door is called, so we have it to be panel and glazed door. Panel and glazed door. That is option B is the answer to that question. Then question 9. The door member label G is jam. So we call it jam. So that is the door member label G. Then question 10 says that the highest point of an arc is called, a crown. That is option D is the answer to question 10. Then question 11, which of the following material symbols is a stone? So option A is the answer to question 11. Then question 12 says that which of the following roofs is hip roof? So the answer is option A. So this diagram in option A is a hip roof. So option B is butterfly roof. Then this roof is look like lean-to and flat. Okay. Then why this one is a gable roof? Then question 13 says that which of the following roofs is gable roof? So option D is the answer, just as we have it here in question 12. Then question 14 says that which of the following roofs is most prone to damage by wind blowing from the right hand direction? So option C is the answer to the question. So this particular roof will be affected by the wind blowing from the right direction. Then question 15. The part labeled M in the staircase shown in figure 10, the part labeled M of the staircase shown in figure 10 is a stringer. So that is option A is the answer to question 15. Then question 16 to 17, we have to use this diagram to answer question 16 and 17. So question 16 says the type of foundation shown in the sketch is a deep strip foundation. A deep strip foundation, that's option C. Then question 17, the part labeled S is a wall. That is option C, is also an answer to question 17. Then question 18 says that the part labeled T on the staircase shown in figure 12 is a well. That is option A is the answer to question 18. So this part of the staircase is called a well. So option A is the answer to question 18. Then question 19. The layer of mass concrete for foundation and the soil is an oversized concrete. That is option C is the answer to question 19. Then question 20 says that which of the following part of the panel door in figure 13 is a stile? So looking at this question, so the answer is M is a stile. So this part is known as a stile or as part of a door. Then question 21 to 23. So we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 21 to 23. So question 21. The type of roof of the building is a hip roof. That is option D is the answer to question 21. Then question 22. The material used to construct the door labeled K is wood. That is option A is the answer to question 22. Then question 23 says that in first angle orthographic projection, the view of the building direction of RP is a front elevation. That is option C is the answer to question 23. Then question 24 says that which of the following symbols represent outcome? The answer is option A. Okay. Then question 25. The tool shown in figure 15 is called a trowel, or we call it hand trowel. So option D is the answer to question 25. Then question 26. The type of chair suitable for use where space is limited is a spiral chair. That is option C is always answer to question 26. Then question 27 says that which of the following is not a feature of foundation footing? Which of the following is not a feature of foundation footing? So that is question 27. So the answer to question 27 is option B. So screed is the answer to question 27. That is option B. Then question 28. Which of the following features is not shown in building view? Which of the following is not shown in building view? So the answer is option D. So the foundation wall is not shown in building view, foundation wall. Then question 29 to 30. So we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 29 and 30. So this is diagram that we are using. And the question 29 says that the purpose of the protruded rods label P is to, so the purpose of the protruded rods label P is to provide reinforcement of the lintel. That is option B is the answer to question 29. Then question 30 says that the structure is most likely made of reinforced concrete. That is option D is the answer to question 30. Then question 31 says, which of the following is a building tool? Which of the following is a building tool? So a building tool is a hand trowel or trowel. That is option D. Here is the answer to question 31. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 32 to 34. Question 32 to 34. So we are making use of this diagram. So let's start. So question 32 says that the part labeled R is a wall plate. Option D is the answer to question 32. Then question 33, the part labeled T is a king post. So option C is the answer to question 33. And question 24, the main function of the part labeled P is to support the roofing sheet. That is option C is the answer to question 34. Then question 35 says that the electrical symbol shown in figure 12 is a variable resistor. Option A is the answer to question 35, referring to this diagram here. Okay, then question 36 to 38, we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 36 to 38. Question 36 says that the part label X is a landing. That is option A is the answer to question 36. Question 37, the part label Y is a thread. That is option C is answer to question 37. 38, the function of the part label Z is to, so the answer is option B. So option B, enhance tensile strength of the stair. Enhance tensile strength of the stair. So the answer is option B to question 38. Then question 39 says that which of the following symbols represent single sink? So the answer is option D is the answer to question 39. Then going on to question 40, which of the following symbols conventionally represent wall lamp? Wall lamp. So the answer is option C is the answer to question 40. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 41 to 43. So question 41 says that the part labeled W is a foundation. That is option A is the answer to question 41. Then question 42, the main function of the building part is to increase the building rigidity. That is option C is the answer to question 42. Then question 43, so says that the part label X is, so looking at this question, so the answer is oversized concrete. That is option C is the answer to question 43. Then we move to question 44. So we are making use of this diagram to answer question 44, which says that the part label P is a wall plate. That is option B is the answer to question 44. Then question 45 says that the part of foundation just above the oversized concrete, is screed. So that is okay. All right, so it's a screed. So just above the oversized concrete is a screed. That is option A is the answer to question 45. Then question 46. The material used to prevent the flow of moisture from the ground into the building is DPC, damp-proof course. That is option A is answer to question 46. Then question 47. The type of foundation suitable for slopy surface is a stepped foundation. Option C is the answer to question 47. Then question 48 says that the provision made on parapet walls through which rainwater is discharged is called troughing. So option A is the answer to question 48. Then question 49. Question 49, as we have here, so we are making use of this diagram to answer question 49, which says that the part label T is a window. So that is option B is the answer to question 49. Then question 50, the part label Q is a riser. That is option D is the answer to question 50. Then question 51 to 52. We have to make use of this diagram to answer question 51 and 52. Question 51 says that the type of stair shown on the sketch is a straight flight stair. Option D is the answer to question 51. Question 52, the part labeled C is a handrail. That is option C is the answer to question 52. Then question 53 says that which of the following buildings material symbols represent hardcore? So the answer is option A. We have done something like this before. Then question 54 to 55, we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 54 and 55. So question 54. So the correct view in direction of ROY is option C is the answer to question 54. Then question 55, the type of roof on the building is a gable roof. That is also option C is the answer to question 55. Then question 56, the type of building tool shown in figure 18 is a buster. That is option D is the answer to question 56. Then question 57, the part of foundation that prevent the penetration of moisture into a building is a damp-proof membrane, or we call it damp-proof course. That is option B is the answer to question 57. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 58 to 60. So question 58, the part label E is, this is the part label E is a fascia board. That is option B. Then question 59, the part label G is a strut. That is option A is the answer to question 59. Then question 60, the part label F, the part label F is a wall plate. That is option D is the answer to question 60. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 61 to 62. Then question 61 says that, the part label Q in the figure is the mullion. So is the mullion. So that is option C is the answer to question 61. Then question 62, the part label T in the figure is, so as we have, there is a style. That is option D is the answer to question 62. Question 63, which of the following tools is classified under impelling tools? The answer is option C. That is chisel is an impelling tool. So we use it to shape the wood. Okay. Then we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 64 to 65. So question 64 says that which of the label part is a ridge? So F is the answer to that. That's option D. 65 says that the part label K is a collar. That is option C is the answer to question 65. Then question 66 says that which of the following is not associated with construction of hacks or hacks? That is option A is the answer to that, foot long. Then question 67, the portion Q in the sketch of a room in the building plan below represents a wardrobe. So built-in wardrobe. That is option C is the answer to question 67. Then question 68 and 69, we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 68 and 69. Question 68 says that the part label R is a lintel. That is option D is answer to that question. Then the part label P is called for question 69. The part label P is called, we call it foundation. That is option A is the answer to that question. Then we'll move to question 70, which says that the conventional symbol shown above represents earth. So talking about this, that's option C is the answer to question 70. Then question 71, how many flights has the staircase shown below? So talking about this, so it's just a one flight staircase. So option A is the answer to question 71. Then question 72, which of the following is not a type of door? Which of the following is not a type of door? The answer is jamb. So that is option C is the answer to question 72. 73, the electrical symbol shown above is a signal lamp. That is option B is the answer to question 73. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 74 to 76. Question 74 says that the part label K is a balustrade. So the answer is option B. Then question 75, the part label P is made of wood. Is made of wood. That's option C, the answer to question 75. Question 76 says that which of the parts can be specified as 1,800 by 900 in glass louver. So that is option C is the answer. That is part Q. So option C is the answer to question 76. We are to use this as square diagram to answer question 77 and 78. Question 77 says that the part label X is introduced. That is option D is the answer to question 77. 78, what type of arc is shown? The semi-elliptical arc. Option D is also the answer to question 78. Then we move on to question 79, which says that the opening where servicemen enter to carry out repair in a building is called manhole. That is option A is the answer to question 79. Question 80, a building specification given as 100 by 50 rafters at 50 centers describes which of the following part of the building? That is roof. So option D is the answer to question 80. Then question 81 says that the type of door which is closed and open vertically as shown in figure 18 is a roller shutter door. Roller shutter door. That is option A is the answer to question 80. Then we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 82 to 83. So we are making use of this figure 19 to answer question 82 to 83. Question 82. The type of door shown is a flush door. So option D is the answer to that question. And then question 83. The portion labeled T is a column. So that is option D is the answer to question 83. Then question 84. So says that we have this diagram to answer this question, question 84. So figure 20 shows a section through a lintel. The part labeled F is a reinforcement. That is option C is answer to question 84. 85. Hardcore is found in the floor. It's found in the floor or it's found in the floor. So it's part of the floor. When you look at the specifications of the building drawing, so it's part of the floor. Okay, so question 86. The drawing of a molding shown in figure 21 is follow. That is option A is the answer to question 86. Then question 87. Which of the figures of hinge window below represent horizontal center hinge? So that is option D is the answer to question 87. Then we have to make use of this diagram to answer question 88 to 90. So question 88 says that the part labeled V is a soffit board. That is option A. Then question 89 says that the roof members S and T respectively are, we have what? And respectively are, we have the ridge, so the ridge board and ceiling joist. The ridge board and ceiling board joist, that is option B, is answer to question 89 to question 89. Then question 90 says that what is the pitch angle of the roof? What is the pitch angle of the roof? The pitch angle of the roof is 1/3. So we have to divide 1,800 by 5,400. That's how we get the pitch. So the rise over the run. Okay, so this is the run. The run is 5,400. The rise is 1,800. So the answer is 1/3. That's option A to question 90. Then question 91 says that which of the electrical symbols below represent wall socket? Represent wall socket. That's option B is the answer to question 91. Then question 92 and 93. We are making use of this diagram to answer question 92 and 93. So question 92 so says that what type of arc is shown? What type of arc is shown? So the answer is an elliptical arc. So that is option D. Then the member label Z is a column. That's option B is the answer to question 93. So question 94. Which of the following is not a building tool? Which of the following is not a building tool? So tongs is not a building tool. That's a blacksmith tool, okay, or mechanical tool. Okay, so then question question 95 and 96. We are making use of this diagram to answer question 95 and 96. So the part labeled G so the part labeled G is landing. That is option B is the answer to question 95. 96. The part labeled H is the part. Label H is a new web. That is option C is the answer to question 96. Then when we move to question 97 and 99, so 97 to 99. So 97 to 99. So we are making use of this diagram to answer question 97 to 99. Question 97. The part label R, is blinding. That is option B. Is the answer to question 97, 98. The part label T is DPC. So that's option A is the answer to question 98, 99. The part label V is as we have here, so is foundation footing. So that is option D is the answer to question 99. So when we go to question 100, so the figure below shows the handle of a chisel. So the part label K is a ferrule. So that is option A. We call it ferrule. So that's option A is the answer to the question. So question 101. Which of the following shows the overall length and breadth of a building? So that is the building plan. Option C is answer to question 101. 102. Which of the following conventions represent a double swing door? That is option A is the answer to that question. So we are making use of this diagram to answer question 103 to 106. 103. So question 103, the part label P shows, so as we have here, so it shows a Pauline. So that is option B is the answer to question 103. 104. The portion labeled R is located directly on top of a window. So that's a lintel. So option C is the answer to question 104. 105. We have that the portion S is a floor finish. That is option B is the answer to that question. Then question 106. So which of the following is not shown on the figure? So which of the following is not shown on the figure? So looking at what we have here, so parapet wall is not shown on the figure. So option A is the answer to question 106. Then going on to question 107, so make use of this diagram in figure 13. So the electrical symbol shown in figure 13 represent a transformer. So option D is the answer to question 107. So 108, which of the following parts of a building has both tread and riser? That is staircase. Option C is answer to question 108. Question 109, a door made of steel is represented by which of the following symbols? So that is option D is answer to question 109. So the answer is option D. So question 110, the type of stairs that has landing which turns through right angle and continues to the next floor So we have the answer to be option A. So that is dog leg. So we are making use of this diagram. So to answer question 111 to 112. So the type of door shown is a panel door. So that is a panel door. So that is option A. And then the part label Y is a style. That is option B is the answer to question 112. Then we are making use of this diagram to answer question 113 to 115. Question 113. If the height of each chair is 120, so the height X is the height X is, so we have 360. So we subtract 360 from 3,100, and that will give us 2,740, and that make the answer to question 113 to be option B. So if you multiply, so we have three riser here. So that is 3 times 120 will give us 360. So then 360 3,100 minus 360, so will give us 2,740. So then we have that how many threads are shown in the section of the building. How many threads are shown in the section of the building? So we have 2 threads. That is the surface here and the surface here. Those are the 2 threads that we have. Okay. Then, so the answer is option B to question 114. Then question 115 says that the portion labeled M and N respectively are labeled M and N are respectively are. So here we have what we have. So the answer to the question is we have so parapet wall and coping. That is option D is the answer to question 115. So M is parapet wall, while N is what is the coping. So option D is the answer to question 115. Then we are making use of this diagram to answer question 116 to 119. Question 116. The type of wall shown is a cavity wall. That's option C. Then the part labeled F is a skirt. That is option A. Then the part labeled G is so if you look at what we have there, so the part labeled G as question 118. So question 118 is DPC. So it's DPC. So damp proof course. Then question 119 in figure 16. Okay, so in figure 16, okay, it is in figure 16. Okay, we are making use of this. So this one is to 118. So in figure 16, so if the block is 225, the length Y is, so the length Y is, so length Y, we have length Y from here to here. So length Y, so we sum the length. So 4,600 plus 2,800 plus 1,600 plus 1,600. And that amount to, so that amount to option A, so 10,600 is the answer to question 119. Then we have that on a building drawing, FL is used to represent floor line. So it's used to represent floor line or floor level. Okay. Then question 121 says that the diagram below represents dash plan. So it represents window plan. So this is window. Then question 122, the recommended size of door for toilet opening is 750. Okay, 750. Then question 123, the type of arc shown, sketched above is a lancet arc. That is option B is the answer to question 123. So the question 124, what's the name of the tool sketched above? So the answer is a chisel. So it's a chisel, option A. Then question 125, identify the conventional representation of rubber from the following. So the answer is option E. Then question 126, the part of the roof labeled S is hip end. That is option C is the answer to question 126. 127 says that which type of door is shown in the figure below. So this is the figure. So the type of door shown in this figure question 127 is option B. So we have frame, but we have framed, legged, and braced door. Frame, legged, and braced door. That is option B is the answer to question 127. Question 128. So what are the names of the part labeled F, G, and H? So F, G, and H, question 128. So the answer is option A. So we have bottom rail. So bottom rail, F is bottom rail. So YG is brace, and A and H is what? Is tile. So option A is answer to question 128. Question 129 says that which of the following symbol represent glass? So make use of this diagram. This diagram represent glass. So the answer is option B. Then question 130. So the roof shown in the figure below the roof shown in the figure below. So this roof is the lintel roof. That is option B is the answer to question 130. So question 131, so the tool sketched below is a cross-pin hammer. So it's a cross-pin hammer, that is option. So cross-pin hammer, so that is option C for question 131. So we are making use of this diagram to answer question 133 to 134. So 132 to 130, okay, 132 133, sorry. So which of the following letters represent Reuben sheet? So the answer is option A, option D, that is M, represent the Reuben sheet. Then question 133, so the word plate is represented by letter, so word plate is represented by letter O, so option A is the answer to question 133. So 134, which of the following symbols represent water? That is option D is the answer to question 134. So question 135, the figure shown above can be identified as a marking gauge. Option A is the answer to question 135. Then we have to use this diagram to answer question 136 to 140. 136 says that, as we have here, question 136, if the area of the rectangular line is 65 millimeters, the dimension X is dimension X. So this is dimension X here. So if the length, if the area is 65 millimeters square, 5 meters square, and the length and the width is 5 meters, so the length X will be 13 meters. That is 65 by 5. So that will give us 13. So option C is the answer to question 136. 137 says that if the thickness of the wall is 225 meters each, what is dimension Y? What is dimension Y? So 125 meters each. So what is dimension Y? So dimension Y. So we are to okay. So here we have what? Here we have 225 millimeters. 225 millimeters times 2. So I need to make use of my calculator. So I'll make use of my calculator to do that. So okay. Sorry. So we have 225 times 2. So that is 450. Then 450. So we subtract 450. So 5 meters. So 5 meters gives us so if we divide that by 1,000, divide that by 1,000 for us to convert it to what? For us to convert it to millimeters by 1,000, that will give us 0.5. Then if you subtract it gives us 0.45. Then 0.45, so 5. So we have converted it to meters. So 5 divided by, minus 0.45. That gives us 4.55. So the answer is option A to that question. So distance Y is 4.55. So I believe you know what I did. So we multiply this by 2 for the thickness of the wall. So which gives us 450. Divide 450 by 1,000 to convert it to millimeters. Then subtract 0.45 from this 5. That will give us 4.55. So the answer is 4.55 for length Y. So question 138 says that the window type label scale is a single casement window. That's option D. Then question 139, the door type label L is a single swing door. That is option C is the answer to that. Then we also have question 140, says that which of the following conventions represent the building part label M on the section PP? So building part label M is a wall. So it's a wall. So the answer is option B. Then question 141, the type of roof whose plan is shown is a heap roof. That is option B is the answer to question 141. Question 142, the type of roof whose end view is shown is a mansard roof. That is option A is the answer to that. Question 143, the quick post is a member of building part found on the roof. That is option B is the answer to 143. 144, the span labeled P is, the span labeled P is, so span labeled P is a flight. That is option A. And lastly, so the question 145 says that the span labeled Q is span labeled Q. So as you see there is the right. That is option D. So we have answered 145 questions on building drawing as objective questions. As simple as I've done it here, all you have to do is to practice. When you practice this, you become a master at it. Thank you. Keep on practicing and God bless you.